Chris Capelli is the Director of Global Business Development. Chris has been with Esri for 26 years, right? And in the last 17 years or so, he's taken over the global business development effort, which means he has seen through multiple shifts in transformation, and it's always been a good sounding board for many of the organizations who wants to implement that, right? Chris never quite departed from his technical roots. He's still coding in Python. He challenges me why I'm not coding in Python all the time. So if you have a technical question on Python, talk to the man later. So without further ado, I'm going to hand the stage over to him. So please join me in welcoming Chris.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm a little nervous. Look around. There's 500 of you, and there's only one of me. I always thought one of the most interesting things about these user conferences was our ability to come together across our organizations, across our different interests, and actually look about an audience filled with other people that are just like us, that have that passion for how geography and GIS can be applied and used in supporting a variety of different kinds of work that we all do for our living. One of the things that I've always found in my role is I have a rare option or rare ability to be able to travel all over the world and meet users from literally every culture, every different country, every different organization type, different industries. And that is the one thing that always unifies people together, is their passion for understanding how geography and GIS can be applied to make their organizations and their life's work more rich, more fruitful, and more impactful for the organizations and causes that they support. So just for a little perspective, just look around for just a second. You're part of a network of millions of people around the world, millions of people who use GIS every day to help shape the planet, one organization at a time, one cause at a time. I think that's pretty special. And I know as we get focused on our own work, it's hard to actually see and appreciate that. But it's these user conferences which allow us to acknowledge your great work and put it in the context of the global community of users. Because your work is actually solving some of the world's most challenging and perplexing problems, from climate change to making smart cities and smart nations, to improving how utilities deliver services to their consumers, how environmental organizations protect and shape environmental policy and law, how energy companies look to evolve into clean and natural ways of being able to provide the power that we all need to do these technology things that each of us love to do. Applying the science of where. You are a very special group of people, and I hope throughout today you can at least take a moment and understand just the context and the part that you play in this global network. Because GIS and location are accelerating. As I've traveled around the world just in this last year, I can easily report to you that organizations now are seeing it as being more important than ever before. Location has become a core competency in the workplace. And this is something that I think is important for you with your own career aspirations. Building your professional network, building your own professional brand, and your own professional expertise and career. Now, I also have the opportunity to spend time understanding different trends that impact and affect how GIS and geography are applied in businesses, universities, and organizations. There are many trends out today, from digital transformation to smart cities, IoT, blockchain, smart grids, smart everything. There's one that I'm particularly excited about, and that's the digital twin. Now maybe you've thought about the digital twin before and harnessed a memory from your early ages of reading science fiction books, like myself. The digital twin for us as individuals is something that's actually coming to fruition. For those of you who wear a sports watch or a Fitbit or a health tracker of any kind, you understand that you are amassing a huge amount of data about yourself. It's not hard to understand how that could be extended to building a holistic view of your health. A tool that could be used by healthcare professionals to help give you preventative maintenance, just like your car. Or, as in the aircraft industry, digital twins are being used practically every day to help make sure that your aircraft that you fly on is both safe, well-maintained, and comfortable for you to ride in. So digital twins aren't that far-fetched. And if we extrapolate this just a little bit further, what is a GIS other than a digital twin? GIS enables us to be able to understand our world and abstract it into the computer system. We do this so that we can further our own understanding, so we can understand our assets and resources that we're charged with maintaining and using to serve the purposes of our organizations and those users who rely upon us. So I would argue that each and every one of you is already working every day towards creating a digital twin of your organization and your work. So this is one trend I would like you to go back to your organizations and actually say, we got this one. We're leveraging GIS to produce a digital twin that supports the mission of our organization. Now, the other thing that excites me so much about GIS is that GIS is not just technology. It's a process for being able to understand, thoughtfully understand, after collecting information, model, analyze, and produce pointed, clear, and concise plans that people can act on. Those plans and the technology that we use to support those plans have transformed many aspects of the business and government environments across the world and continue to shape policy and organizations' work. I would suggest that GIS is a fundamental platform in organizations. And there's probably three good ways to think about how GIS is being used today. The first is a system of record. You know, an accounting system, your personal finance system, is a system of record for your money. It helps you understand and collect all of your money and know how much money you have. Well, a GIS is very similar, except for the geographic aspects of the assets and resources that we actually model in our digital twin. So that system of record is really one of the core purposes of why organizations leverage GIS technology in the first place. But GIS has also been much more than that since its inception. It's also been a system of insight. What do I mean by insight? Providing analytical modeling capabilities so that we can further explore that information, so we can understand patterns and trends that live within that data, and so that we can project forward and understand possibly new outcomes, drive towards ambitious goals and objectives that our organization set forward. And the third key aspect is that system of engagement. Face it, you've been playing with maps nearly your entire life. You've touched them as they've been printed in paper. Well, if you're old like me, you've touched them as they've been printed with paper, and you've also used them electronically. Maps are a pervasive way that we humans communicate with one another. They help us express ideas, they help give us perspective, and they help organize our thinking and problem-solving skills. So putting these three things together, these are the essence of what a GIS brings to the world and to each and every one of you. But we also have to keep in mind that even though I've been a GIS professional, Thomas, thank you, for 30 years now, it's one thing my children remind me of constantly, is GIS is not your father's GIS anymore. It's constantly evolving. It's constantly taking advantage of trends, both in the computational areas of hardware and software and sensors, but also it's innovating through the great work of yourself and other organizations that are constantly pushing the boundaries of GIS and forcing it to evolve to keep pace with the needs and the desires of each and every one of you. So remember that GIS is not a static thing. GIS is constantly moving, it's constantly evolving, and you're helping to shape that. Now, we call this new version of GIS a web GIS. Why do we do that? Well, because fundamentally WebGIS is powered by web services, just like the rest of almost all mainstream IT technologies today. From your Facebook to your Twitter to your LinkedIn profiles, all of those are now web service powered. Because by using web services, we can grow exponentially and we can accelerate collaboration and sharing. We can take advantage of some of these new technologies, from the cloud to new sensors to even integrating with other platforms more effectively than ever before. WebGIS also simplifies working with all kinds of data, from imagery and other kinds of raster information to vectors and CAD files, bringing in real-time sensor feeds and being able to catalog and maintain those for further analysis, both in real time and after the event's completed, so that we can actually get a sense of what has happened. Obviously, big data, I always wonder when people say big data, what's bigger than the Earth? Well, I guess the solar system, but think about all the data you've been collecting. And by default, I would suggest that's a big data stash. Now, integrating with real time is something that I think we geographers and GIS professionals are only just starting to tap. It's not just about seeing where moving things are on your map service. It's about understanding why things move the way they did and how to improve that movement to make it more fluid, more dynamic, and responsive to the needs of the built environment. Allowing us to sense information from multiple kinds of sensors and mix that together with our digital twin to make it more robust and a true reflection of the physical and built and natural environments. I think what gets me the most excited about GIS and the transformation I've seen over the last 30 years is the progression towards apps. When I started with GIS, there was one app. It was called ArcInfo. You had to really want to use it. It had a command line interface. You had to memorize a series of commands. You had to slowly type them in because the computer only had one color, green. Yes, some of you are laughing and you probably remember those days as well. Well, today, if you can operate an iPhone or an Android, you can operate a GIS system. If you can make a chart in Excel, you can make a map in Excel. The skills required to leverage GIS have been transformed through a series of applications, now bringing the power of what we do as geographers and GIS professionals to nearly everyone. This gets me very excited. It also opens up new opportunities for us, GIS professionals, to leverage different kinds of systems in new ways. Imagine being able to combine ArcGIS Pro with R to really do a deep analytics investigation of why things are the way they are and how to improve them. Now, as a geographer, I've also tried my entire career to make a nice looking map and struggled with that because visualization was one of those things that was always perplexing to me. Smart mapping is now changing that. Smart mapping actually, with the software taking on more responsibility to be the cartographer in the software or in the cloud or in the box. Making intelligent color choices, intelligent symbology choices by default, so that as we start a new mapping project, we not only have content, we also have our content displayed and symbolized in appropriate ways. I think this is very exciting, especially for somebody who is a challenged cartographer like myself. I would suggest that WebGIS, as you look back across users across the world, examples being Youre, GIS is fundamentally changing how we plan and how we synthesize information. And this is very exciting because when we combine all of our assets and resources through WebGIS, we can gain a more holistic view of the Earth and therefore plan with purpose and plan with consideration of all variables and all aspects that would otherwise impact our planning efforts. WebGIS is also making spatial analysis more accessible. New capabilities with your ArcGIS that you use every day are offering you new ways to tap and unlock the hidden trends that live in your data and live in the data from the new organizations and new sensors that you connect to. I'm super excited about the Python interface, as Thomas alluded to, because Python is my new AML or avenue for you users that have been here for a long time. You understand that with the use of the Arc macro language, we are able to chain together commands and create interfaces. Well, that's now been updated with the use of Python, making almost an unlimited number of applications and libraries available to be used within the ArcGIS platform, both on the web and on the desktop. And we'll see some demonstrations of that a little bit later. I'm also really excited because WebGIS is fundamentally connecting everyone. WebGIS does not discriminate based on the size of the organization. WebGIS is as powerful for an individual as it is for an enterprise. And it's as powerful for an individual who's a GIS professional as it is for a consumer or a citizen of the nations that we live in. WebGIS is fundamentally changing how people access information, how they understand why where is so important, and how they exercise their rights as a citizen and their responsibilities as an employee. WebGIS also enables us to reach out in new ways to our constituents that we are in the business of supporting, for those of us who work in support of citizens and through the government. Allowing us to create new fashions like open data, but also new apps like story maps that allow people to explore content in the perspective of the story that we want to tell. Also allowing citizens to record information and give us feedback, observe things and record things, making them sensors for the community, allowing us to really thoughtfully understand how citizens and the constituents shape government through their feeling of how government is performing. I think WebGIS, as I try to summarize it, brings GIS to a whole new scale. It allows us to actually think in new ways. It allows us to connect individuals with teams, teams with departments, and departments with organizations, and organizations with the communities at large that we support. This network effect fundamentally changes how we access and share information and knowledge. And I give it great hope for helping all of us in our own special ways change the planet, one person, one organization at a time. Because now, GIS provides us a way to work better, smarter, and more effectively to support the missions that each of us both has on a personal level and as a professional. So I'm often asked, from this vision and from those technology trends, what should I as a GIS professional do? Well, let me give you a few concrete ideas. First of all, learn the technology. One key rule of technology today is just as you learned it, something new comes out or something changes. I can't emphasize enough the need for lifelong learning. Participate in a MOOC, a massive open online courseware that allows you to learn new skills. Go to learn.arcgis.com and practice a part of GIS and geography that you haven't yet explored. Learn how to integrate R with Pro. Learn how to open up and use Collector to capture information. Learn how to apply the science of where and add new skills to your repertoire so that you as a professional and you as an individual continue to enrich yourself. Adopt this new pattern. WebGIS is fundamentally different than client-server GIS. Understand those differences and understand how you can take advantage of those. There are fantastic workshops later on today to help you with that. Explore new applications. Load the apps on your iPhone or Android. Explore them. Be able to bring up a map at any time and anywhere. This is an important skill as you go forward. Share and collaborate and exchange and meet new people. You get the idea. And last but not least, communicate your success. Sometimes GIS professionals are a little too humble. You are a data scientist, and your organizations need you. because you understand the value of where and how to bring it to life in your organizations. My challenge for you, as I leave you this week, is step out of the back office and show your organization just what you can do and the value you can bring to them. On behalf of Jack and Laura Dangerman and all of my colleagues of Esri across the world, I want to just take a second and thank you very much. You allow us to do the things that we love. And we're very clear that our mission at Esri is very simple: to serve you, to advance GIS and the science of where, and to build an organization that's different than others, in service to you, humbly understanding and fixing mistakes when we make them, constantly keeping an ear out and open for the changes you want us to make in the technology, so we constantly evolve to meet the demands that you need us to meet. We're all in on this WebGIS pattern. I just wanted to highlight one fact. Last year, we spent 31% of our total net revenue on R&D to make sure that WebGIS constantly evolves, that you constantly can take advantage of these trends, and you constantly have tools that you can rely upon to do your work. So, on behalf of all my colleagues, my thanks to Thomas, the entire staff of Esri Singapore, and to all of you. It's been a pleasure spending a week here in Singapore with you. Thank you.